What's up, world, and welcome back to the Global Frequency. I am your host, Nefarious.
And I'm Frequency Girl.
And tonight we're joined by Dan Price, here to tell us all about his creator-owned comic book crowdfunding campaign, Bigfoot Knows Karate, Hinagon, live on Kickstarter. Dan, what is up, dude? How you doing?
I'm doing great, guys. Thanks so much for having me here tonight.
Absolutely glad to have you with us. I mean, you're a well-established creator. You got a really fun IP. You've been doing some really cool stuff. We met you at a convention in Baltimore at Baltimore Comic-Con. We had a really good time, sat down, talked about Bigfoot, and we were like, hey, you should come on the show. So,
and now we're here.
It's your first time, which means you've got to run the gauntlet. We ask you all sorts of probing questions. Hopefully the probing's not too uncomfortable. And yeah, let's just jump into it. So where are you from and where did you grow up?
I currently live in Austin, Texas. I grew up in Houston. So that's where I came from. What's that?
We're going to Comic-Con in Texas. And I was like, is Dallas near Austin? No, they're like on the opposite sides of the state, right? And Frequency Girl was like, it's too late to change it now. We're going to Dallas, not Austin. So it was...
I was like, who do we know in Austin?
Someone's in Austin. It's you. Yeah. You're in Austin. Awesome. Before we go any further, let's say hello to the chat real quick. 4 hours? 4 hours across the state. It's like...
Texas is it's gigantic.
Yeah, I'm in Central Texas. They're in North Texas. You go from like Beaumont area, one end of I-10 to the other to El Paso. It's like 862 miles across the state. So
wow,
it's a big place.
That's a big trek.
Yeah, it's like a 25-hour drive for us. So we're not gonna.
We're not driving.
No, we can't. That'll take me like 3 days.
I don't blame you.
So let's say hi to the chat real quick. I'm sure more people are going to filter in later, but we got D-Wag here. Bow first. He is Mo Big says we have Shinobi Sasquatch at home. No, we don't. Nobody does. It's a very good point, Mo. We will be illustrating the characteristics that separate Bigfoot knowing karate and Sasquatch being a shinobi from each other. And I'm not just talking about Dan putting out 3 books and Cal putting out none. I'm talking about actual characteristics. We have got Phil Diaz from Zade Comics. Hello. What are you, Dean?
Hello.
You're not Dean.
No, he's being British. Hello.
Oh, okay. I thought it was
the little worm in Labyrinth.
All right. I thought it was Dean doing the LO.
No, he says good day, good day.
Oh, that's right. He's an Australian.
Yes.
Okay, there's 2 weird people saying hello differently.
Yes.
We've got Aldous with us. Good evening, all. Glad to have you with us. And yeah, I think that's... we got Nick Raven with us. Excited for Bigfoot. Indeed, he is. And we've got D. Hausner.
We also get to hang out with at Baltimore.
Definitely good to see you with us. Glad to have you with us, D. It is always a treat to have D in the chat. D and I are going to be making a roasted nut company. I don't know how many people I've told about this. Several. We're going to be making a roasted nut company.
I don't think you told anyone since Baltimore, though. You've been keeping it on the DL.
Well, every time
you haven't had an investors meeting.
I have to make the attempt to trademark the name and see if it's out there. We'll find out. Hey, says Phil. Okay.
That sounds more like Phil.
Yeah, it does. We got Will. No, dude, you're not first this time. I'm sorry. You're so not first.
Mo says you barely missed it. Just by
a couple people. All right. We're gonna get back to the interview. Oh, wait, we got CT Allen. What is up, CT? Yo, like I said, there are gonna be more people.
That's my co-writer right there.
Casey Allen.
Yes.
We're going to have more people filtering in, I'm sure, throughout the interview. We'll be pausing momentarily to say hello to them when they come in. Figure I'll just be like, stop.
That's what I do.
Yeah. But let's get back to it. So what was your favorite comic book when you were a kid?
Fantastic Four. easily without a doubt. It was the early '60s stuff that got me. And then I was reading when I okay, so I was it was the Silver Age stuff that I really dug, but I was at the time John Byrne was doing his thing on the books, so I was enjoying the current stuff. But I really, really got into Fantastic Four. My father did too. Uh, my father, he really dug comics, and we collected comics together. And we actually had a collection of Fantastic Four from number 1 to 300. We were only missing number two, and it was a great collection. And yeah, so Fantastic Four has a lot of is a lot for me. I dig it a lot.
Aerith says, why no Iron Age? It owns the libs by 10 times. Probably because we're talking about his early comics, Aerith. And I agree with Casey, fucking nerd, because your early stuff was like early 60s golden age stuff. So you were already like a fuddy-duddy when you were...
I feel like Aldous would appreciate
I was going to say, that's gonna earn you some points in Aldis's book, though, because you came up on some of the classics. Byrne is definitely a good starting point for an appreciation for like actual comic books, as Aldous would consider them, like comic books proper, not the trash that came out in the 90s that I love, because that's what I was raised on.
I think that's the first time we've had someone say Fantastic Four as like their intro comic.
It's generally not a team that
we've had a lot of like X-Men, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I mean, Human Torch is cool, right? He's on fire. So
see, there you go.
So I can see he would.
It appeals to your interest.
And Ben Grimm is a rock. So
there you go.
I could get it. I don't know why I never really got more into Fantastic Four. Probably because the early stuff had that really stupid looking plane. I honestly think that is what turned me off. The 4-jet was so fucking dumb. Like, no, it just, I think that's really what it was. It was like, this is the stupidest looking aerial vehicle. It can't be going very fast. The wind shear would tear their eyeballs out of their skull. And this is like, 10-year-old me thinking this stuff, because I was a very peculiar child.
Neff to go on Shatterstar in 3, 2, 1.
I was gonna say, who was it that just did a Shatterstar for Inktober? I did that. I almost retweeted it and tagged you, buddy, because it was a Shatterstar. I was like, there it is, right there. Yeah.
Oh, speaking of, it's not Inktober, but Indietober. Today is Bigfoot Knows Karate Day, isn't it?
Holy snap! We have you on the show. Yeah. On Bigfoot Knows Karate Day. In case you didn't know, Travis came out with like a big old nepotistic list of all of his favorite people. I'm kidding.
You just want to say that because you're on it.
Yes, I know. I am on it, yes. I don't even remember what day I am. It's probably already passed.
No, the 27th or 29th, I don't remember. 20 something.
October 29th. We're getting on towards Halloween. You dress up as a, whatever. No. Anyway, Bigfoot Day. Glad to have you on for Bigfoot Day. Hopefully that translates into at least, a couple people taking interest in the book. Mo says, why would I choose this book over its most obvious competitor, Yaw Yan Yeti? or King Cryptid, or any number of characters. And we are actually going to talk about that when I get through my interview, which I like to go in order of the questions that I make. So real quick, let's finish up the early stuff. What kind of comics do you like to read now, and is there anything on the stands currently that is capturing your interest? More than
currently, I read Nothing's Killing the Children. Somebody gave me the trade for that. That was really good. And then I picked up The Last Ronin when that was coming out. Thoroughly enjoyed that. That was a great story.
Awesome.
Other than that, just indie stuff. Really, just stuff that I get from other creators. The big stuff that I've been reading. Just read Dead and Still Dying from Lesser Known Comics. That was a really great book by Mark Bernal and Jade Lauder. And thoroughly enjoed that.
So your publisher, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, my publisher.
They have a ton of
They gave it to me at Baltimore. I came home with a stack of books this big from Baltimore, and that was the last one I read. I'm still getting through so many of them.
Yeah, I haven't cracked any of them between what we got from the Ringos and then just like what we purchased when we went around. We had like 3 tote bags full of books that we got at Baltimore. It's kind of crazy, but I haven't made it through them yet.
Backpack was
Aerith is still working on Shatter Libs. And Mo says, Aerith, you need to take it easy on the libs. We can all agree that they've been fantastic caretakers of the comics industry as of late. I agree, Mo. The libs have been doing an excellent job
I will
watching out for
say
everyone's interests.
that the issue 1 of Transformers with Danny
Fantastic.
Warren Johnson, so
Honestly,
good.
there are a lot of
I
good comics.
even there are a lot.
There's a lot
Like
of good
I have my pull list is pretty big. But specifically this week, the number 1 Transformers were so good. And yesterday he did, I mean, he does D-dubs with Friday with D-dubs all the time, but yesterday he did a
Wednesday,
special.
right?
It was Thursday.
It was Thursday.
He did a special stream where he did like the director's cut, and he went through page by page with his roughs and his inks, and he talked about like which panels he really loved, which ones gave him a hard time. And
Wait. Time out.
Cool.
So you're telling me there is a comic book creator out there who made a comic book, but instead of talking about popular drama that's going on YouTube or people arguing on Twitter or stupid stuff that we're seeing written in the tabloids, he sat down with the comic book that he made and did sort of like a director's commentary and showed roughs compared to finished pages and told a little story.
And he showed like
that would never work. No one's gonna watch that.
It was awesome. And if you just want like a wholesome, fun time, I highly, highly recommend watching Danny Warren Johnson's live streams.
None of us want wholesome or fun.
It was so cute. He was like showing which toys he liked and why, and like how he was using them to like pose for as references for some of the action scenes. It was awesome.
Aerith says,
highly recommend it.
Wait, what? How many libs got owned making this comic? Talking about the Transformers book. Yeah, not enough, Aerith. Clearly, there are not enough libs getting owned in Transformers. I agree. Although Bumblebee dies, spoilers. We got Bancroft with us. Careful, Mo Biggs. Brog could be lurking. He's on the edge as is. What is he on edge for? Did I miss something? I may have missed something.
We miss a lot.
Yeah,
we don't actually partake in any
Transformers
of the drama
weren't even good when they were good. Ooh, that's mean, Mo Biggs. I think
no, they're good. It's good. Trust me, it's good.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
I mean, original art's expensive.
It's Danny Warren Johnson, so obviously it's gonna be good. But like,
we got to get back onto this interview.
Sorry.
It's like 7:15. We're still. It's not your fault.
I got excited about Transformers.
It's absolutely her fault. So tell us the history of making Bigfoot Knows Karate, and when did you decide to start being a publisher making comics?
All right, so to talk about Bigfoot Knows Karate, you have to go back to my first project, okay, which was called Latex Avenger. Latex Avenger, he wore a rubber on his head. He had a sidekick named Spermicidal Foam Lad, and together they repelled crime 99.9% of the time. That was the shtick, that was the gag. And you had crazy characters in the book. You had Manibus, who was a kaiju pop monster. And you had Sexy Nurse America, who was the archetype Wonder Woman type character. And just wild crap happening at all times, So this comic was Bigfoot Knows Karate was originally scheduled to be a comedy. This was about in 2014 or so, and it was the typical kung fu flick revenge story concept. And then it went from there into the situation where he was living out in like in like a suburb, and like he had this like Kane-like journey, and he goes out to the suburb, and he ends up working in a mall, and it was just terrible. I mean, it was just not funny, and I didn't enjoy it, and I took it and I shoved that to the side. The one thing I held on to was the title, Bigfoot Knows Karate, and I had it pinned on my wall for like years. 2017, 2018. I'm going through all the different stuff. Like I had taken a break from comics, and I was going through and I was just teaching myself how to draw digitally because I had drawn for a while and switched to being a writer completely. And so I was teaching myself how to draw digitally. I'm a graphic designer for a living, but I had wanted to draw a comic book in Adobe Illustrator was my goal. And so I started doing these sketches of this character. And it went from this goofball story to this introspective story about this Bigfoot, the only one of its kind, the only one of its species. Nobody knows him. Nobody is just he's just a story, right? what would that do to your psyche? What would do that do to your soul? What would that do to you to be so secluded and karate? That was like this thing. So I was drawing the character and I was looking, and I could see in his eyes, like I was drawing with like heavy bags under his eyes, there's just these like gaunt eyes. And as I was drawing him over and over again, just doing sketches and sketches, and I post them on Instagram. And we're talking, this is like 2017, 2018 at this point. Casey Allen, who was my co-writer on the book, originally we met through something called the Comic Jam. Comic Jam is this project it's an online workshop where artists and writers get randomly paired together to do a one-page comic. Casey runs the jam. We met through that and we worked on a project together. It was fantastic. And, we just became fast friends ever since. Well, Casey's pushing me. He's like, "Hey, what are you going to do what are you going to do something with this Bigfoot character? What do you got planned? What are you going to do?" And this went on for a couple of years. Drew Edwards from Halloween Man was another person who was writing to me about it. And they were, and I said, "Listen, I got an idea, but it can't be the usual thing. It has to be something completely different." And so I took my sweet ass time coming up with this concept that was action adventure, psychological thriller, chock full of violence, and that was Godzilla versus Kong meets Kill Bill with a twist. That's what it had to be. When I say with a twist, damn it, I mean it. If and I think you said you read the first issue. So hey man, how you doing? Dude, so much. Hell yeah, it's good to see you, dude. Thank you so much for having me on Indie-tober, dude. That's badass. So what is it?
Yeah, Travis says, "Oh, that's great, Dan Price. However, have you had drinks at a sketchy Chinese restaurant at like 1 a.m. in New Hampshire with us?"
That I have never done.
You have not lived unless you have sung karaoke
in a Chinese food restaurant, questionable Chinese food.
After one of the most interesting Uber rides.
Yes. There's like disco balls.
We cannot derail this conversation. We're here to talk about his book.
Yes.
We've already done that for 5 minutes.
I'm ADD
I was really into the disco ball. I was curious where this was going to go, but hell yeah.
Oh, so there's a story about Travis and Kim and I went looking for karaoke because Travis has got. It's been a while since we did our karaoke show on Sunday night. So we went looking for karaoke one of the nights in between, I think it was Saturday night at the Granite State Comic-Con. And there were like 3 bars that were supposed to have karaoke. So we went to the first one that was close by and their karaoke DJ wasn't there. So we had a drink and left and went to the next one. And, they're far enough apart that you need Ubers to go to these places. And the last one was way out there, but we had the coolest Uber driver. His entire interior was lit up with like the, fiber optic purple mood lighting, like the bisexual lighting people have on YouTube. Like that was the interior of the car. And there were stuffed Pokemon everywhere. There was a disco ball and he had like the ultimate Omni playlist of any song you could imagine.
Yeah, so he put on Me First and the Gimme Gimmes for us.
Right.
And we...
Did you think you were in cash?
Rainbow Connection?
Yeah, Rainbow Connection. Tough song to have on rotation, right? So yeah, we rocked out to Me First and the Gimme Gimmes, Rainbow Connection, which is the Muppet song. It's a weird ska version of the Muppet song.
Well, that's what Me First and the Gimme Gimmes, they're just covers, and they have different albums that do like different genres, and that's on their Broadway album. Even though Muppets aren't Broadway, it's okay. We like it anyway.
And we took that Uber out to a weird Chinese food restaurant that had billiards and a karaoke DJ / machine, and we each got to sing one song in the rotation before they closed up shop, and we left. And it was a fun, random, weird night, but it was a lot of fun. We got Matty Fowler with us. He said Shigama Marapakas, but he also said Rob Willis and I had this talk about Shinobi Sasquatch versus Tiger Blue because I said, Fowler, do you think Tiger Blue would fold Bigfoot in round 1, or would the Sasquatch be able to go the distance? Because in case you didn't know, Fowler has also got a animal that knows martial arts in crowdfunding
Oh,
live
okay.
right now, but his is over on Indiegogo. And the two of you, you might want to have a chat about your
Okay.
anthropomorphs fighting, bad guys, or even going toe to toe and seeing what's what. Because Jose draws a
There's
pretty
another
mean
one on
tiger, and
Kickstarter too. There's another one on
yeah,
Kickstarter.
like I said, there's a lot. There's a
Samurai.
lot of guys
Yeah.
going into the direction of cryptids. But I think
Yes.
yours is really dealing with like the solitary nature of the character and what it must be like for, like you said, their psyche being so isolated. But I have a question. How did Bigfoot learn karate? I'm sure you get asked that all the time.
It's a question that I get a lot, and it's a question I'm not prepared to answer yet, to be perfectly honest with you. Yeah, it's
Plot.
You have to keep
Plot
going.
taught him karate.
yeah. So somebody said to me about a bonsai tree a moment ago. It is
Oh, that was Mobex, yes.
I got a scene, and we're doing Hinagon right now, but I'm working on chapter 3, and there's a scene in chapter 3 where he's doing a kata in the desert that I think you'll enjoy. So yeah, I think
Nice.
you'll dig that. But anyway, go ahead.
So the first book that you crowdfunded back in October 2021, Bigfoot squared off against Kung Fu Thulu. So I'm starting to see that there might be a martial arts motif going on in your books. Where did that idea come from, and what happened in the second book?
Okay, so in with Kung Fu Thulu, that was the brainchild of Casey Allen. So I mentioned Casey earlier. He was, he originally, oh yeah, I didn't really finish that whole thing. He originally came on as an editor, and then he started giving so many great ideas. And he said, we need some really killer big bad in the first book. And he said, just kind of out of nowhere, he screamed, Kung Fu Thulu. And I was like, what the hell is that? That's amazing. And the next day I had visuals. We have, there's, once we got to Kickstarter, I realized there's a lot of Cthulhu out there. There's some really great stuff. And,
Yeah,
which
it
is
was
cool
a
as hell.
big
I mean,
thing for a while.
yeah, no, hey, Travis did the Cthulhu Invades Wonderland. I mean, all those Cthulhu Invades books, those are cool. There's a lot of great stuff out there. But, our Cthulhu, he's kind of a cross between Max Cady, Three Cates Fear, the Robert De Niro version, and Macho Man Randy Savage. And that was like the characteristics we were going with for the character. But the martial arts motif actually, you'd be surprised actually. Oh, is that from today? Yeah, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
There's that one,
Oh,
and
that's
then
amazing.
there's this one that I can see easily
I saw
without
that
like
one. Yeah,
doxing too much stuff.
that's
Yeah.
super cool. That's super
Oh,
cool.
very cool. Yeah.
Um,
What?
So in chapter 2, though, we bring in the chupacabra with a shotgun. It's absolutely killer as hell. I love, yeah, right. That's awesome. So we bring in a chupacabra with a shotgun. We've got kaiju in there like thermonucleodon. We even work with the Minotaur Asterion. So there's a lot of different creatures. There's a Mothman running around in the second issue too, along with all the different characters we introduced at the end of the first issue within the fourth act twist. So we've definitely grown out the cast quite a bit in the second issue. And the first issue was a lot of setup. It was a lot of setup, just kind of getting the feel for the character. I wanted people to kind of get a good introduction to him. We go into the astral projection portion of the concept. We go into the big fight scene, and then the huge twist at the end. So issue 2 just picks up where issue 1 left off. He went from this world where nobody knew him, complete isolation, to now he's surrounded by enemies. What do you do in that situation? So I don't even know what's better. So got his work cut out for him.
Mo says Bigfoot Knows Karate, Tiger Blue, Shinobi Sasquatch, and Winnie the Pooh in Furry Force 4. I think that would be a very interesting book, and I think Winnie the Pooh, since it's public domain, it's a pretty easy way to work in
I'm
something
a big
that.
fan of Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah.
I think that is my favorite
You could probably
reimagining of Winnie the Pooh.
You could probably get Nick Raven Demon Hunter to maybe
I'm like maybe
lend his
I, in
services
my
to that.
I was gonna say I think I have to amend that and say it's tied with Winnie the Pooh Demon Hunter. but it's a close call.
But I don't think any of those that Furry Force 4 would be able to stand up to the combined might of ARO, Pull Out Pigeon, Baby Seal, Navy Seal, and what was the other one? There was another one.
Oh, Sprint
Sprint
Chicken.
Chicken! Yes! Sprint Chicken. So yeah, I think that would be a great 4-way fight. Sprint Chicken, Baby Seal, Navy Seal, ARO, and Pull Out Pigeon versus Bigfoot Knows Karate, Tiger Blue, Shinobi Sasquatch, and Winnie the Pooh. I don't know who would win, man. It would be chaos. Of course, if they brought in Mecha Macaque, it'd be over. Y'all, everybody dies.
So, there's a little bit of lore that we're referencing. So ARO is AR orangutan,
AR-15 orangutan.
And that is the creation of Mo Biggs.
It's Mo Biggs' best-selling
Seal.
comic book
Yes.
that hasn't been written yet.
Okay.
Actually, no, it will be written once the comic book comes out. So,
Yeah.
there's a very big
That
distinction.
is ARO drop when it's done.
Yep, when it's done.
Sprint Chicken.
Sprint Chicken. There was a Mike Bancroft had a he was trying to say spring chicken and he wrote Sprint Chicken, so that became
And everyone ran with it. Bum.
and everyone God, I hate you. So Sprint Chicken became part of the the menagerie of animal characters. Mo Biggs at some point created Pull Out
True.
Pigeon in the Bancroft chat, and he
Action
is
figures have to come
a
first.
pigeon with nine whatchamacallit? Oh God, 1911s.
Oh.
And then there's Baby Seal, Navy Seal, which is pretty self-explanatory. And this all spawned a whole bunch of fan art of these characters for the character designs. So there's fan art of all of those characters out there. And when we contributed our own, which was Mecha Macaque, which is a little macaque monkey operating a big monkey mecha.
Yeah.
And that was a print that was available on the first Mavericks campaign.
Nice.
Yeah,
Mo Biggs
Pump
is-
Action Peacock. That's a new one. I don't remember Pump Action Peacock, but
Action
now we're
Peacock.
definitely going to see something. Oh, let's see. One already made backing cards for him. Ooh, for what?
For the action figure ARO.
Oh, yeah. Now, dude, the sculpts could be
Baby
killer.
Steel, Navy Seal is like Air Bud, but Air Blood.
Or blood, yeah. Underwater, right?
Yeah,
Because swimming is just flying underwater.
It is. It's true.
All right. So Hinagon is set in feudal Japan, right? Is this the same Bigfoot from Bigfoot issues 1 and 2? Is this like an origin story? Is he just on a different part of the world? Is this time travel? How do we get the Bigfoot who knows karate in Hinagon?
Sure. So yes, it's the same guy. All right. And so there's been stories of Bigfoot of Bigfoot and Hanagon and Sasquatch, for generations. And whether it's in the written word or it's, orally told, what I'm saying? This is what, demand action figures. Nice. So this character has been around for a very long time. Is it an origin story? No, this is a slice of a moment in the life of a character that has spanned a hell of a long time. And so it's interesting because we get to see the beginnings of things. We get to see if you're a reader of the book, it's something you're going to be able to pick up this book and go, holy shit, that was really interesting because of X that happens in the comic. If you've never read the book before and you're just looking for a good smash 'em up monster of the week, that aspect is there for you too. You know what I mean? If you just want to see Bigfoot go up against a water dragon Mizuchi and just, throw down, we got that for you. We got that for you in spades, and it's amazing. Casey has written this incredible comic. Casey, my co-writer on the main storyline, he's taken the helm on this one and has delivered something really kick-ass. And Adam, who is our cover artist on the main storylines for the deluxe editions, he has done the interiors, and so it brings something different from the main storyline books, which I draw. So it's got a different vibe, and I think that's important because mood is so important to the first two books. Having this storyline be drawn by a different artist, having this story, and letting Casey just go run crazy with the comic and do what he wants to do, incredible.
Yeah, so this is the art from
The
the
original,
first two
yeah, first two chapters.
chapters.
So, what convinced you to turn over the reins to Adam on the art and to let Casey take the lead writing Hinagon? And Casey was the editor on issues 1 and 2. Have you since supplanted Casey's role and become the editor for Hinagon, or is Casey still editing their own work?
No, I am taking up the editor role along with Chip Pinu, who actually was editor on book 2. So we are working. So I'm doing like the main work on the editing, and then Chuck's helped me out at the end doing, looking everything over. And I'm sure my wife will do her thing and read over it right before it goes to print too, because she's amazing that way. Um, but yeah, what relinquishing the art duties. I mean, if you when you get done with these pages here, you got to scroll up to see Adam's work, because to see it is, to see it is a reason enough to go, hell yeah, because he brings something so different to the storyline, to the art, to the story. It's just a whole different vibe. And I enjoy drawing the book, don't get me wrong. I love drawing this book. Bigfoot Knows Karate's been the most fun I've ever had doing any comics. And thank you so much, good Joe. It's been the most fun I've ever had doing indie comics. So, I mean, this is a story from, I wouldn't say I'm a big Bigfoot enthusiast, or a martial artist, but this story comes from the heart. You know what I mean? And
The
Casey, we're just doing
expressiveness,
something.
Yeah.
like there's so much here in the way that the characters are designed, like just that slight tilt to everything, the way that there's that tight push in on the hand, the throat, like there's a lot to be celebrated in the
Yeah.
in the art of these early books. Now compare that to the art in Hinagon, which there's I don't know, there's a lot more like line focused illustration,
Yeah.
I'd say. Like it's a lot more, or attempting to be a lot more detailed with a lot more noodly elements to the illustration.
And this is going to be in black and white.
Right, it's
As
going to
opposed
stay
to
in
color.
It will be
black
in
and
black
white
and
as
white.
opposed to the color.
Yes.
Right. Real quick, we got good Joe Catapano coming in and join us. We've also got who was it here?
Did you say hi to Bancroft?
Murph, yep, from
Oh,
from Dirk, Murph and Dirk Duke It Out. Glad to have you with us as well. Yeah, I said hi to Bancroft like way back
Oh, I
in the
didn't know.
day.
I
Yeah,
don't
just making sure I understand. And Mo wanted to know, who is Hina and where did she go? Hinagon. Hina
Oh,
Hinagon.
okay. I'm like, yeah.
I think we can blame that on Neff because it was the delivery there that
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All
you
right.
said Hina.
My delivery of
Yes.
the bad pun was,
Yes.
I'm sorry, very good pun.
Yes,
Exquisite
exactly.
pun. Exquisite, yes. There's only one Joe in Good Show. Don't try and start this JoJo degeneracy. I miss Joe Cappuccino. I liked
That's
that.
probably why he changed his name. Because,
No, it's because he does the Good Joe show now, right? As opposed to the Bad Joe, right?
I was going to say logic would imply that.
So, who is the antagonist? I know he fights the water dragon, but it almost feels like from the description, the water dragon isn't actually the bad guy. That Bigfoot is being sent to rid the the people of this water dragon, and maybe that's a setup. And I don't know, the Yakuza or some evil feudal lord is doing it to prevent to allow their ascension to the throne. With the water dragon out of the way, they can do their evil deeds, like import bananas or who knows what it was. But now Bigfoot and the water dragon have to team up and take out this evil guy and make up for Bigfoot's mistake, having been misled by this. I don't know if I'm at all near the plot, but that's kind of what I got reading the page. Who's the antagonist and what are the stakes?
The water dragon is the big thing. It's just not going to be. It's not the who so much as the why is the real question in the story. But the water dragon definitely is our big bad in the story. But there's like other Bigfoot Knows Karate comics. There's always something at the end to screw things up. That's kind of our motif. We always have
Does
something at
he
the
have
end
a
there.
bunny on his shirt?
Shit.
So you like ending the issue is always tough for you because
I like
at
the
some point,
characters,
you
yeah.
know, at the end, wrapping things up, you just make a mistake and people are left with this impression that, you know, you could have done better. Is that what you're saying? Or something narratively that confuses
No,
the
there's actually a
situation, the
point to the
scenario, and makes it more
cliffhanger.
difficult.
Usually,
Yeah.
yeah, no, there's usually a point to our
Right.
ending.
You throw a monkey wrench into the plot. I was being a little shit.
Yeah, I understand, and you did a fine job, sir. Fine job.
Okay, good.
I really like this character design. He's kind of cool and silly, but not at the same time.
Who is
And
that?
I don't know. I'm interested. I want to find out. Like if I mean, I was already kind of invested in it before I got here. But if I hadn't been, I would have been like,
Sure.
oh, hey, I want to know more of this guy. I love his sock. And is
Yeah,
that a bunny on
definitely.
him? Does he have a bunny on his shirt?
If you notice, yeah, so that is the bunny on the shirt, and if you on that splash page of Bigfoot standing with the lamp, there's a bunny on his hip as well. So there's a lot of bunnies. There's a lot of bunnies in the
Hmm.
comic.
Yeah, there was a bunny
It
in the
started in the
other.
first issue.
I was gonna
Yeah,
say in the first one.
yeah, and he shows up
And
in the second one too. So bunny's very
nice.
important to the story. It started off as a throwaway. The bunny in my first draft of the comic, when I was still working on like the proof of concept to send to Casey, the bunny was going to die. The bunny was going to die, and I was like, no, I had to change of
Oh
heart. Yeah, I had to change of heart because I thought about it from the character's perspective. What would he what would he do in this situation? You know, don't write it the way you see it, write it the way the character would do it. And the character
no.
is very much a kind of a defender of the underdog, you know, defender of the wilderness, and so that takes place. The medium, this is actually done in this is actually done. It's pencil and ink, and then there's a lot of washes over the top of it as well. So whether he's using um, Copics or he's doing some watercolor washes, just depending on what he's doing on that page on per page. But yeah, he's doing a killer job with it. We'll say
So
Yeah, there's
this
a
that.
is all
ton of
done.
texture in
This
here.
is all done
Yeah.
traditionally. Does he do any digital touch-ups, or is it just
No.
scans and then straight to pre-press?
So he sends me the pages, and I have to convert it so it'll print good to black and white. And so sorry, I was reading the bottom.
Oh, I
The
missed something.
so
Cappuccino hair.
he was yeah, so no,
Shido.
I do some touch ups just to make the blacks a little richer, and so it'll print well when we go to black and white printing. So and then sometimes I'll
So
have
you
some
adjust the
panel
K
border
values.
photoshopped out or something like that.
Bancroft knows all about that. I'm sorry, we're making a little
No,
joke
you're
about
good.
Michael Bancroft and the blacks,
The K
the
values.
K values.
Yeah.
Yes, the K is black, and never mind.
Yes.
So yeah, there is digital touch up done prior to the pre-press and the lettering. Who's lettering this, by the way? Is that
I
you
will.
from the? Yep.
Yeah, I'll
Did you
definitely
letter
take on the
the first
lettering.
two?
Yeah, clearly.
Yes, I
Very
did.
cool.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
So I'll
And if we were
definitely.
going to
I'll
go the weapon
definitely.
route, yeah, bullpup bunny. There's got to be something said for like the martial arts monikers and the weapon nicknames, right? So Casey's the co-writer, right? We already talked about him being the editor on the first two, and you kind of doing a little bit of a role reversal where he's taking the lead on writing the second, and you're being more editor producer. But have you guys thought of getting like a third person involved, someone who's
Yeah,
more removed from the writing and drawing, able to see the bigger picture, producing the project as a whole?
that's what we did last issue with Chuck Pinu. He came in
Oh,
and
you got
worked
Chuck
on the
Benoit.
editor
Yeah,
role.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Chuck is fantastic. He's a Texas guy, well, Canadian Texan, and but he lives about an hour. Well, he's from Canada originally. He lives about an hour from me, and great guy. We got to meet in Comic Palooza this past year, and couldn't be a nicer guy. And so we have Chuck working with us on this one as well. So it's good to have somebody pull back a little bit from the project and who can stay with, you know. And then you might have not heard me, but then my wife will also be reading over the thing before we go to press. She's the eagle eyes, you know, always catches something right before we go. So
Is your wife have that kind of responsibility, not just like the proofreading, the commas, the misspellings and stuff, but is she the type to go, hey, bro, this is crap? This part here like makes no sense. Dialogue could be tightened. Way too many words in this balloon. Narrow it down. Think about maybe changing this panel. Is she like editing, or is she just kind of back up, making sure it's all solid and ready to go to print?
In the end, it's back up solid. In the
Okay.
at the beginning though, during the process, she'll be like, "What the hell's up with that arm?" You know what I mean?
All
So
right, so she
Mhm.
definitely comes in and she's like, "Nah, bro, fix the art." Okay,
yeah,
good.
it's that shit. You know.
It's good when
So
you let your wife give you that input, and your wife has the eye for it. Like your wife
oh, she's
is experienced. I don't want to say educated, but experienced and comfortable enough with art, with anatomy, with design, with just page layout and everything, that they can come in and, be like, good, not good, how to adjust, maybe offering solutions or critique on how to fix. We got
no,
Unhinged with
she's
us. We got Jason Bascom in the chat. Welcome, welcome. Glad to have you with us. What about lesser known comics? What role does Mark Bernal play in the creation and funding of Bigfoot Knows Karate?
the creation and funding. That's not what
Like
we.
as far as like delivery and he's distributing for you, right?
Yeah, so I mean, so lesser known really is a band of maniacs that all are doing such crazy different, independent comics. It's incredible. I'm so stoked to be a part of them because it's everybody's doing their own thing, and so Mark's really there to nurture all of us, to push us to get to make the best possible book, but also, as a bullhorn for all of our projects, making sure, the information's getting out there to the people, represents our books at conventions and things like that. There's no distribution deal at this time with lesser known, but that's okay. Because you know what, even if there was, I'm not ready for a distribution deal. I need about, a couple more years to have enough in the can to be able to say, okay, now we're ready to put this book out,
Yeah, if you're
and
going to be
not
going through
piss
Diamonds, you're going to
anybody
need a
off.
full miniseries arc or something, and then you're going to need stuff to back that up because you don't want to suddenly
Yep.
just disappear from the shelf. I mean, look at Valiant, right? Um, what you fulfilled the first two books yourself, right? Like you did the
Yes.
fulfillment. Is that going to be different this time around with lesser known comics involvement? Are they going to be helping you out, or is this still just a solo run project where you're going to be doing all the shipping?
They're gonna do so when it comes to the lesser known packs, they're gonna handle those for me. But I'm gonna do the fulfillment myself. And really, I got a label printer last time, guys. I got a label
You got to use
printer,
it.
and you know what
It's
a game
awesome.
changer that was for me. I mean,
Yes, we
seriously, my
do.
Yes,
first
because
We
campaign.
absolutely know.
Yes,
oh, you
I
printed them out
love
on
my
paper and
label
cut them
printer.
out.
Yikes.
Oh my
You had to
god!
Yeah.
tape them.
So that
Oh my goodness.
I was so
And
excited.
that's rough because you had the most backers of the campaign since on campaign number one. You had like 200 something backers. So you had a rough
Yeah.
time of it, didn't you?
Oh my God. So no, you don't understand how many hours I spent at the post office trying to get all those things packed up or get all those things shipped out. The next time around, I got the label printer. I mean, seriously, I took the week that I got the books and I got them all laid out in terms of who packed what and all that stuff, packing them and shipping them a day with that label printer,
Nice.
dropped them off at the thing. It took the whole thing getting from the house to the post office and back 45 minutes, not these 7 hours I spent there twice. You know what I mean? Because I was terrible.
Wow.
So thank you,
Yeah.
label printer.
So speaking of fulfillment, why don't you tell us more about this campaign page here? Tell me about the tiers and how you decided your goal and your price points. Can we start here with like the or
Yeah,
go
I
to
was
his
gonna.
like
Yep.
yeah, he's got a breakdown of it. There we go. So
There
starting
you go.
off at the $4 digital tier, which is a pretty good price for a digital comic these days, or so I
Yeah.
am told.
Yeah.
How did you arrive at these price points and funding goal, and why don't you walk us through it all?
Sure. The funding goal was is larger than we've ever asked for, mainly because we have to pay an artist this time. I'm free. When I work on a comic, I'm free. I don't cost me a dime. So taking so the price, the asking number had to go up this go around. The $4 price point for the digital edition. Um, look, if somebody's willing to back the book at the digital rate, I appreciate that so much. When I back a book at the digital rate and I'm spending $10, sometimes I feel like that's a little much for a comic.
Yeah.
I wanted to make this something that was easily affordable that people from all over the world can easily grab. Because shipping costs out of country get to be so crazy. So make it accessible. It's a 26-page book. It was so expensive to get. It's a 24, 26 page book. I think we extended a little bit. So that happens. So so yeah, just making it's black and white, it's 26 pages, unlike the books that we do previously, which are like 30, 36 pages full color. Let's just make this a little bit more affordable. It's not costing us as much at the printer. So, well, digital, it doesn't matter, but you know what I mean? When we go to the next tier, $8 for the physical copy. Again, it's not costing us near as much as it would cost to do a full color comic. So pass that savings on to our actors.
Right. Now, I noticed that Jason says digital is so expensive to ship because I said, the thing about talking about fulfillment and shipping and the campaign. But what I do want to get to is that shipping on the basic floppy starts at $10. Now, was that your decision to price shipping more than the book?
That was a situation where it's like it's not just the shipping, because I don't do media mail. Okay, I don't do media mail. I'm not willing to take the risk on that. So once you take into account the Gemini mailer and everything else that goes involved with it, it got to be more expensive than I wanted. Honestly, than I wanted it to be. But it's just the way it rolls. But we're good.
Yeah, we're all kind of struggling with the fact that like shipping prices went up, even if you're using pirate ship. Using media mail is one thing. Using pirate ship gets you bulk discounts overall on flat rate packaging, which is what I suggest you look into, because media mail rates are good, but the thing with media mail is you can't put ads in your book. So if you're doing stuff for lesser known comics, it might be a question. You can't put like bookmarks, stickers, prints, anything like that. So the alternative has to be pirate ship, and they do give pretty good prices. I think you're looking at something around $8 though. But my suggestion, because from a perspective of a consumer, we have had this conversation and people have voted on it numerous times on Twitter and other parts of the internet. You could ask Michael Bancroft, do people want to spend $20 with $5 shipping or $5 with $20 shipping? And the answer is always they will pay $20 and $5 shipping, feeling like they're saving money over paying $5 with $20 shipping. So making it a $10 book with $8 shipping, I think would probably play better to the psychology of consumerism, where people look at it and go, oh, okay, well, the product is more expensive than what it takes for me to get it. So it's going to be more expensive on the shelf. If I don't pay this shipping, I'll get it this way. I was just throwing that out there.
That's a really good point. That's a really good point. And look, frankly, I'm learning still. So I'll take that. I'll take that piece of advice any day.
Yeah, we did the same thing with our most recent comic too. We offered a $10 basic book tier, and we got shipping down to $8, and because that's what it costs to ship these days. We didn't include materials because we have crazy back order stock of materials. We get it. Since we're fulfilling a lot, we have a lot. So we don't really worry about how much the Gemini costs, how much the bag and board costs. We're just looking at the shipping prices, and it is expensive. But
interrupt just because Mobigs would like to clarify. It's a black and white book, but it reads front to back, correct? Like it's not like
it is not
manga,
a manga.
It's just black and white.
No, and it is normal sized. It is not. It is not compact like the Japanese people.
It's like one of these. So
better $9.99 book with $7.99 shipping. That's true, man. Is that your 2 cents, Mo? But boom. Jason says I'm going to charge $75 with free shipping US for a 12-page ash can. Don't. We're not going to talk about that. We are going to have someone on the show who has a very expensive ash can, and we will be talking about the pricing and the shipping and all that other stuff, because this is a show about crowdfunding and we're trying to make things as attractive as possible. But speaking of attractive, let's get back to the campaign page, because you do have some pretty good looking deals. I do have one question. What separates the regular version of the book from like the deluxe that has the director commentary and the additional art?
Yeah, so that's the difference is,
Yeah, but how many pages?
Of artwork that goes into it. So the regular edition of the book, like I'll use issue 1 as an example, it was 30 pages. Okay.
Right.
The deluxe edition ended up being a 44-page book when it was all said and done. Same 30-page story, but then we ended up putting in, listen, we've received over 150 plus pieces of fan art for Bigfoot Knows Karate.
Damn.
Which is
no one ever draws
awesome.
next. Are we chopped liver? No one ever sends us fan art. Are we chopped liver? We're probably chopped liver.
Bigfoots are more fun to draw than robots.
Yeah. Good point.
Yeah. So we received all this fan art, man, and like it's an incredible feeling. It's really humbling, and it's like because people take the time out of their day to draw characters. Even before our first book came out, we had like 50 pieces. Before the first Kickstarter, and I remember I had like a bit of an anxiety attack one night. I was sitting with my wife. It's about a 15 piece of fan art to come in. I'm sitting there going, "What if the book's no good? Oh my God, they're all excited about it. What if the book's no good? But then, it's you just take it for the fact that people dig what you're doing, and I'm so grateful for that. But anyway, so we receive some killer fan art over the course of the time. So we always take some artwork and put that in the back. I love that Sin City one where it's
Nice.
So you're bigging me. And so we take, so we do some of that. We do some of the fan art in the back. And then we do the director's commentary. And the director's commentary is something that I've always wanted to do in a comic for years. I've been, it's something that I was like, we can make a magazine-sized book and then put the comic inside the magazine size and have all these annotations and stuff. And it wasn't ever going to work. But click on the QR code right there, and that takes you to a director's commentary roundtable discussion video where myself, Casey Allen, and a few other folks get together and we talk about the book at length. We did this for the first book. It was a hit, so we brought it back for book 2. People dug it, so here we go again. So this one is got a cover by Andy Bloor, an artist out of the UK, and Andy's done some fan art for us in the past, and he's been one of the guys who's been with us since the get-go. So it was like it was inevitable that we have him on a cover, and it was our honor to do so. So he did a great job with this. And then you also get mini prints. We're also really big into like the extras, sticking extras in the book. So we always put in mini prints like, here, I got a couple right here. So like, stuff like this. We put the mini print in the back of the book. The last campaign, we ended up like throwing 3 mini prints in everybody's comics. So this time, but you'll get 2 with that. And we'll probably throw some extras in because that's what we do. So that's really the big difference between the mini print or the deluxe edition and the regular.
Very cool. We kind of skipped over the digital catch-up, but you do offer
we already
that.
Kind of know that's books 1 and 2, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And then you've got sketch covers, which are cool. Now there is a pinup tier, right? Would it be possible to roll the 2 into 1 and just get him to do a sketch cover?
Pinup tier.
Isn't there like an original? Isn't there a sketch tier?
Oh yeah, there's a sketch cover commission. A sketch cover commission. Yes.
Oh, so it is a cover commission. My bad. I must have misread.
Yeah, it's a cover commission. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Got it.
Sketch cover commission.
Right. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. That's.
What if I didn't want it on the cover of your book and I just wanted the sketch? Why's it got to be a Bigfoot cover, huh?
Because
it's a Bigfoot book. Okay. Fine. I'm just being a shit, man. It's my shtick.
Yeah, you're nailing it, dude. Nailing it. Hopefully they want a Bigfoot on the cover instead of, something else. I mean, it would be nice, but it's their cover.
So when you did decide to do the deluxe edition versus the regular edition, I do have to ask, it is sometimes expensive to print 2 different versions of the book. Sometimes printers are all right with you doing like a regular version, then adding some pages to do a further print because you're just adding versus subtracting, or just, you know what I mean. Why did you decide to go with that, and how much more did it cost you to print a deluxe version over just a regular version?
Well, On the first campaign and the second campaign, we ended up doing 4 covers. We did 2 regulars and 2 deluxes. It cost quite a bit more to do the additional pages, and then take into account it was just heavier. We do 100 pound, we do the 80 pound gloss cover pages, and then the 100 pound thick cover on the books. So if you're going to spend a lot, we might as well give it a give it some sturdy. Um, but yeah, it costs quite a bit more to do them. Not, it could be worse, but it was definitely something like if you're gonna do if you're gonna do variants, I wanted them to be a little bit more than just the average variant. I wanted there to be
Right.
something to really sink your teeth into. And again, we received with all the fan art we received, it was kind of important to us to, showcase some of that. So we've been able to do that in all the issues. This time around for Hinagon, we did a draw this in your style contest for black and white
Oh, cool.
artwork because we're doing a black and white book. And so we received like 24 entries into that for 5 spots. And
Nice.
there's so many great pieces. We ended up going with 10 spots. We opened it up and did
Wow.
10 winners. So there was 10 people getting their artwork in the back and sending them t-shirts and comics and all sorts of stuff as a thank you because they really knocked it
That's
out of
cool.
the freaking park. They really did.
Right.
That's cool. So that's why the deluxe is $15. It's not just that you're getting more stuff, but it actually costs more to print it
Yeah.
because you're printing 2 different.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah, that's
I
why I
know.
was. Yeah,
Yeah, tried
that's
to
why you
ask
asked the question.
Right.
I think.
What about the high tier? Like, tell me about the belt because I think that was probably the most interesting. Like, we've got other covers, we've got more than one
Yeah.
cover,
Your
we've got
regular
covers
fare,
with
not that
more
it's not
covers.
interesting,
We
but
got a retailer
it's stuff that
tier.
you're
We've
used to
got
seeing.
the lesser known comics bundle because your publishers like buy all of our books. But then there's something
We
really
have
cool.
all of these. I
Yeah, we
think.
have them all. But
There might be
there are
one
one
that
or
we
two
don't
that we
have,
don't.
but
But we
we
picked
pretty
up
much
a
have.
shit ton
I was
from
gonna say, but I think we
Baltimore.
got whatever
We
we
picked up
didn't
the ones
have.
that I thought were most important were most
That were
interesting, and I
missing.
will read those probably in like 2029.
Yeah, we're a little bit.
Because there's so many books. But tell me about the belt. The belt is freaking cool, and I saw that I was like, that's a unique perk. So you got a
Yeah.
belt, a
No, the belt.
championship belt.
You got to have a championship belt,
Oh, hold
Oh,
on, I
and
I
gotta make you
actually
big. I
did
gotta make you
that.
big. Yeah, he's got
yeah.
the belt. Look at that, shiny.
That's
Look how
awesome.
shiny.
So the belt came around because I've always wanted one. I just always wanted to have something like this, and I could never figure out what I would make it about. We play like shuffleboard at the house. I wanted to make like a family belt. My wife said it was crazy, and but I found this company who just does an amazing job. And this is like 7 pounds, man. I couldn't believe it. And it's
That's
and
crazy.
it's a Bigfoot Knows Karate Fiend Club World Championship. And I had one made just to put on my table at conventions, and people really dug it. So it's on the campaign. There's 2 more of them left. The first one was sold already. So for that, we got a belt, man. We have a belt.
Very cool. Matt Fowler says free or cheap shipping is an unrealistic expectation set by companies like Amazon. Creators can't take that hit.
I was actually typing my response. I was going to say no, they can't. They can't offer that idea. But if you get your production costs down, be that finding a way to get your printing costs less than normal, getting a good deal with your printer, maybe producing an ad in your book so you're getting someone to cover like an additional portion of cash which will cover some of the additional costs, getting cheaper artists some way to negotiating a price. I'm just throwing those ideas out there. The point is, if you can get your production costs, your overhead down, you can pass that savings on to your shipping portion. So if you're saving a couple bucks here and there printing the book, well, now you can charge a buck or two less for shipping. And your consumers are going to go, wow, his shipping is $6. His shipping is $8. My dumbass lizard brain wants the thing, doesn't matter what the thing is, the thing that has $6 shipping. So I'm trying to tell you, if you're competitive, you're going to try and find a way to get the production costs down, even if you can't get the shipping costs down, because then you make it look like you got the shipping costs down and you leave the production, what you're charging where it always has been. I'm saying there's a trick to selling shit, and you got to learn those tricks. Otherwise, you shouldn't be selling shit. And don't argue with me because we literally just did it. Like it's possible.
Mobig says in Okinawa, belt mean no need rope.
No need rope. Hold up pants.
I love the Karate Kid.
Karate Kid.
Says thank you.
Did we hit all the tiers you wanted to talk about? Because there are some other questions that I want to get to, and it just rounded the corner to 8 o'clock. So the funding in crowdfunding, we talk your fucking ears off, and there's a fan face fuchsia tongue out. Oh no, I'm looking at the wrong.
Yeah, you're
screen.
like
I'm way back.
Way back. You have to scroll
actually,
down.
lizard people are notoriously shrewd. So the funding in crowdfunding seems to be a little thin as of late, at least for people that aren't Sean Gordon Murphy. Your last campaign hit 2,800 on its first day and gradually grew to 5,100 with 156 backers by the time the campaign ended last November.
Right.
Hinagon hit 1,900 day one and has made slow but steady gains over the past 2 weeks, currently sitting at 3,800 with 115 backers, and is projected to hit, according to Backer Kit, between $41 and $4,500 by the time it closes, which is close to the second book. But both of those are down from your high on the first campaign, which you crowdfunded in 2021. Which raised $7,000 and had 212 backers. What do you think is going on? Because it's not just you. It's a prevailing trend over the majority of smaller creators or smaller indie creators who are currently crowdfunding the majority of their titles that don't sell books with titties on the cover.
Well, first I wondered if it was just a me thing. I did. And I only moved my shit suck. That was like one of the first things that I wondered. But then I started noticing the same trends happening in other people. What is it? Look, I think that we had a lockdown a while back. I think everybody remembers, and I think that we all saw the amount of indie books shoot up during that time period because everybody was reading comics and making comics. I just noticed, and then after everything opened up again, you started seeing less comics, less creators out there. They were starting to dwindle out because hey, we can go outside again. And I think that was a big thing for a lot of it. Was one of the things, now where, people are, times are tight and all that stuff, and it's, harder on the wallet these days. But, I really don't know the true answer to the question. I wish I did. I really wish I did. We've had,
all right, how about this then? How about this? If you don't know what's going on, would it be different for you if you had a cover where Bigfoot's titties were hanging out?
Yeah, probably, but I'm not willing to go there. I think it's the best way.
That's our curse. We will always make less money because we don't want to give in to temptation, right?
Well,
so where have you been focusing your attention marketing your book? Because a big element of all of this is finding your audience. And if you're not building an audience on YouTube, or you don't already have an audience for an existing IP, and you're not like in Facebook groups creating favor with individuals and gathering them to your banner for when you launch your campaign, you're out there trying to target audiences or groups of consumers, and that's kind of marketing, right? Who are you marketing your book towards, and has it been working?
I'd love to say that I've been diligent this campaign. Unfortunately, we've gone through a lot of family things over that kind of started the day of my launch. And there's been, I wish I had given this the attention. I could have given this campaign the attention it deserves. But that's the most honest answer I can give you. Putting stuff out on Instagram, which is kind of home base for us, that's the, the big thing. But honestly, doing a lot of podcasts, that's been a big deal too. But I swear to God, it's been, this has been, the last couple of weeks have been not the usual for me. I'll put it like that. And so
Snasquatch is a winner.
Sure.
Have you considered a sexual sidekick, or a sexy sidekick like Jersey She-Devil, Snasquatch, or Skank Ape? Now, I think Snasquatch of all of those is a winner, but I know I think Dan wants to steer away from the super sexy covers, right?
No, I'll tell you what, those would be great characters in Latex Avenger. I can tell you that right now. Yeah,
I saw a couple pages of Latex Avenger. It was clever. It looked good too. The art was very clean.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you showed him.
Yeah,
at
showed
Baltimore.
us at Baltimore.
Yeah.
You sure that like this campaign you haven't been giving your attention because you had family issues, not because you're like, fuck it, I'm not the artist on this book. You know, I don't have to try
Oh,
hard.
fuck
You know, my
no.
books were doing
This
good.
book,
Yeah, right. Like,
this
you sure? You sure
IP
that's
means
not
more to. No,
not
I
what's
can
going
promise
on?
you. I can promise you that's not it. The this IP means too much to me.
Right.
I love this project. I love this project. It's been ever since my wife was the one who said, why don't you get back to doing comics? I was really grateful for that day when she said that. The running rule, though, is you can only do comics as long as you're having fun. That's kind of our rule around the house. Because when I was doing comics previously, I had had some bad experiences with a publisher. I'd had some bad experiences, just just a few things that
Just
just
in
weren't really
general.
a lot of fun. They took the piss out of it. So coming back to it, it's just got to be a good time. Unfortunately, we're just dealing with a few things around the house right now, and that's just life in the fast lane, man. That's just life. So you try and
Yep.
do the best you can with what you have, and I'm trying to make a strong go of it now that we're kind of through the shit lately. We're through a lot of it, so now it's just trying to get back out there and really hit it. With whether it's Twitter, Instagram, that sort of thing. Did some
Right.
ads early on, but I always find ads to be a bunch of bullshit. To be perfectly
I
honest
was
with
gonna
you.
say, so
Yeah.
you may not have been hitting it as hard as you could, Gady, but you did work with a publicist. Now, I don't know, did you
Yeah.
work with a publicist on campaigns 1 and 2, or is this new bringing
Yes,
in a publicist to help promote your work?
that was we did that on campaigns 1 and 2 as well. I mean, we were on Comiccon.com's homepage for a while there. We gotten some decent websites had us on there. And then really podcasts. I mean, he has us on. I do 25 podcasts during a campaign. So it's a lot, but we try and get the word out there as best as we can.
Maddie Fowler says Jersey Devil does jujitsu. And I think that's a good way to go. I even suggested that you make her Brazilian because you
Brazilian
could get
jiu-jitsu.
you could get Brazilian jiu-jitsu, but also like Brazilian wax. So she
Yeah.
could be like hairless. She could be a hairless, and have the Brazilian strip. And there's a lot to play with there. Okay. Oh, God, there's a lot to play with. That works, as another double on top. Mo says, you may not have been hitting it as hard as you could. That sounds like the redemption arc in Skank Ape. So, other
Thank
than
you. I needed that. That was a good joke. Thank you. I needed that.
hitting other than raising what can be other than going on shows, and God, this completely disintegrated my
I was
train of
gonna
thought.
say.
Other than going on
Trouble,
shows
huh?
and podcasts, what do you think could be done to raise your numbers and increase your backer count? What do you think is holding you back, if anything? Or is it just a shit show out there and it is what it is?
I hate to
Wax
reclaim that
on,
it's a
wax off,
show
writes
out there.
itself.
I squash on, squash off is what we say around the office. Um, I don't know. I don't want to just say it's a shit show out there and that's the end of it. You know what I mean? Like I can't. That means I feel like this is just the fate of it, and that's what I have to do. No, I'd like to be able to make some strides over the next couple of weeks. We got 13 days left or something like that. So, any
Got two
advice
whole
for me now?
weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely a shit show out there. It's a shit show on here too. I agree with you, Derek Clay.
He'd asked if you. Oh, I'm saying like Dan asked if you had any advice.
Oh, did I have an advice for you? We can talk in the back
Yeah.
room. Some of the things that I would think about possibly
Okay.
doing to promote the book, besides going on shows and going on, getting on like websites and trying to get more online promotion. It all comes back to like who the audience is, right? And how do you find that audience and how do you get the book in front of them? Like, I don't know. Bigfoot's a big fuzzy creature, right? Like he's big and fuzzy and cuddly and lovable, and or maybe having like a chibi sticker and going around to every Mick dojo in your area, dropping off a couple flyers and a sticker and say, hey, give this to your special daily sign up for my karate dojo special, 20% off of my book Secret Tier, or 20% off the membership if you buy the book. I don't know, wheel and deal, like I said, we'll talk in the back room. What challenges
like
do you
it.
face crowdfunding your comic, and how have you tried to overcome them? in general?
You know, one of the best things that one of the best things that I think that we do, and it's not something we invented, but it's something that we do, is the live launch party.
Yeah.
That has
Yep.
been something that we've been doing since the first issue. We did an Instagram live launch party, and that gets the hype going real quickly. That gets the hype going real quickly because we invite in different creators into the live, and we have where we bring in lots of different creators. I mean, I'm talking probably about 20 or different creators will come in during the live. They bring their audience with them. They get to interact with our audience. They get to talk about their books, what their projects, what they're doing, and then they talk about what we're doing with Bigfoot Knows Karate. So we're crossing the streams, so to speak, Ghostbuster style, and so that's usually why we fund, as so well on that first day, because generally, I mean, our first campaign, it funded in 7 minutes. I mean,
Yep.
that was pretty cool for the first book,
Well, there was a lot
out.
of anticipation, especially for like
There
it being
was.
a number one, right? You built up the
Yeah.
buzz.
And you always, you expect a sophomore slump because, people usually will buy a number one and might not come back for a number two. This current campaign, I mean, I'd love for it to see it performing better, but at the same time, what am I can't, I'm not going to go out and start spamming people's DMs. You know what I mean? That's just not my style. I don't appreciate that when that happens to me, when somebody you don't know is like, hey, buy this, and you're like, what?
Right.
So I'm trying to work out some of the kinks right now, and get the word out there. But luckily we have a nice strong backing of people who come back time and again. It's just now, how do we grow that out past family, friends, other creators? You know what I mean? I think that's the challenge that a lot of people in India are trying to, is reach a larger audience. One day maybe we'll be lucky enough to go through Diamond and see if that works. But I hear good stories, I hear bad stories, and all of that. So, is that
What's
Tola?
up, Victus? What is up, Total Excellence? Glad to have you with us. There are good stories and bad stories. I think Diamond's changing, right? Since Image bailed, Marvel already
Yeah,
bailed. DC went to Lunar. Image is now with
yeah,
Simon and Schuster, I think. So Diamond is losing its
Penguin.
overall market share in general for distribution, but also the worse that comic book companies in general perform, the less titles they offer, the less titles they put out, which means the less offerings Diamond has to distribute. So I think they're pretty much primed for an indie takeover. If there is a
yeah.
good blitz of backlogged content to Diamond from, a good group of indie creators that want to get their books into stores and already have an existing relationship with some of the store owners to kind of ensure that there is reliability and trust on the part of the creator and the store owner, so that the store owner could order through Diamond, that might actually lead to some healthy forward growth. Also helping the stores get their income back, because when we're talking about Diamond, we're really only talking about comic book shops, right? We're not talking about Barnes and Nobles, big box stores. We're not talking about big book retailers. We're talking about small comic book boutiques. And those comic book shop owners, the people that run those stores, they need reliable product if they're not selling pops and magic cards and hosting,
Right.
Dungeons and Dragons night. They need a good product. So they're going to need to know these books ahead of time. They're going to need to know the customers that are going to want those books. And a great way to do that is to meet the creators, to give them a PDF to let them know, hey, we're going to be in Diamond. You can rely on our book, whatever. That might actually lead to like a kind of I don't want to say indie renaissance because that sounds gay, but what I mean is like an actual resurgence of good and popular comic books that have made it, that are proven, that are tested on audiences in sort of like the fringe indie scene, moving more towards the center of like industry mainstream distribution. I talk too much. This says, I heard if you back Bigfoot Knows Karate, you will witness Bigfoot himself. And Mo Biggs earlier said I would stay away from doing the next Bigfoot Knows Karate. Now, he didn't mean like the next one. He meant the next
Like
Bigfoot Knows
like the
Karate.
next Karate
Yeah,
Yeah, like the
Kid.
Karate
next
Kid.
Karate Kid. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. So don't bring in Jackie Chan. This also says Diamond lost 3 of the biggest publishers, Marvel, DC, Image, which literally broke the camel's back because of quarantine. Yes, they lost Marvel, Diamond, and Image because of the problem that they had during quarantine when Diamond straight up just shut down and said, fuck you to all the comic book shops who had already placed their orders, put their money out up front, and couldn't make that money back in order to pay their rent. A lot of people don't understand that the way business is done is you pay money for product. Then you get product and sell product because you have bills to cover after you sell the product, and the money left over goes to feeding you and your family and everything, and then ordering new product. It's basic economics, right? So if you spend money to get product and don't get the product, you're fucked. That's the end of business. And that's what Diamond did to a lot of the comic book shops, comic book retail, shops out there, which sucks. Mo said, I even had to cancel my own distribution business, Cubic Zirconia, Zirconia Comics, right? That'd actually be an interesting name for a comic book publishing company. But yeah, like with Valiant going down the tubes and then only offering like 1 title a month and disappearing for 6 months and only offering 2 titles, the income that Diamond was counting on releasing Valiant's 16 titles through distribution, that evaporated. So even though Valiant had a track record where Diamond was reliably releasing or shipping 3,000 issues of these 16 different books, that's a lot of issues that Diamond no longer has in their catalog to charge stores, a couple of bucks to get these books. It's 3,000 copies of each book of 16 books every month, and suddenly that's gone because Valiant can't cover its bills. What about IDW? What about Boom? What about Antarctic? What about all these other companies that are slowly losing the catalogs that they're offering by scaling back on the books that they're putting through production? Diamond's suddenly looking around going, guys, we were selling like 1,000 different titles last year, and now we're down like to 300. How are we making money? We don't have the volume of sales anymore. We've got a tiny selection, and those aren't selling better than they were last year. So you're gonna see them on the precipice of needing some sort of movement, especially when you have companies like Bad Idea out there who aren't going through Diamond, who are going direct to stores, and a lot of people are trying to follow that model. Like Dinesh already has contacts because of being the guy that relaunched Valiant. He knows a lot of people in comics, so he can just select the stores that he wants to go to or run his stuff at conventions, right? Bad Idea's already figured out that they don't need a distributor to run a distribution model direct to stores because there's only 1,000 stores in the United States. It's not hard to get in touch with the people that run 1,000 or less stores, especially if you're fucking Dinesh, and you launched Valiant. You call them up and be like, hey guys, remember me? I got a comic book. You want it? That's easy. A lot of people are trying to follow in that method because now you don't have to actually pay 30% or more to your distributor. You keep all that money. So Diamond's kind of in peril again if you look at it from a business side. That does not spell Diamond being in a good spot in 9 months unless they make some sort of move to bring in new, previously undistributed books, but those books have to be tested, which is why Diamond has the whole submissions process.
Right. And,
like
well, no, but you gotta, for me, I've had people say to me, when are you going to get in stores? When are you going to get in stores? It's a great idea, but the problem is, working, a full-time job. I'm a graphic designer, creative director for a living. That takes up a lot of hours in a day, and so I draw, not as fast as I'd like to. So we, to get enough backlog and ready to go before we can even go to launch in stores, we're a ways out. So it'll be interesting to see
and that's
what happens over the next
I'm
year
absolutely
and a half, 2 years.
I'm with you right there. Like, we don't have the catalog to go to Diamond and say, hey, we're ready. But somebody like lesser known comics might have enough of a catalog to look to Diamond and be like, hey, we've got a catalog to put out.
Right.
They prefer floppies to graphic novels. They absolutely do, because floppies net them more money per unit because they sell volume, because stores can afford floppies on the cheap. Graphic novels aren't nearly as cheap, and graphic novels tend to not sell the numbers that floppies do when you look at the aggregate. But You know,
Really?
I don't know. That would
Yeah.
require an entirely brand new print run of some of lesser known comics offerings, and I don't know how successful that would be because you'd have to pay for the print run and blah 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 blah. I'm talking still. All this is making fun of me for saying boutique because I always say boutique, and for saying indie renaissance. And he also said bad idea has a lot of bad ideas. Yeah, honestly, I was very surprised that they canceled the campaign that I was criticizing. What was it for? It was for the digital. We're redoing digital and making digital like you've never read it before. And I was like, bullshit. And your prices suck. And then they closed the campaign because it was bullshit. And their prices
were kind of pissed.
And then they redid the entire campaign, re-released it. Prices were still high, but they weren't nearly as bad. And apparently the creators, some of the larger creators who signed on to do the 8-page shorts didn't know that their comic books that they created were going to be used as FOMO incentive books to, hey, yeah, and if you want this guy's thing, you're going to have to go to a higher tier and a higher tier and a higher tier and wind up spending, $500 to get, what Mark Wade's book or something like. No, Mark Wade was the first one. I don't remember who was the top tier. But I was like, that's literally a pyramid scheme, guys. Yeah. Like, you're literally building a pyramid out of the higher creators. And so people complained. Those creators complained. Bad Idea had to take their thing down. Their new
idea for New York City
Comic-Con. Their new idea is fantastic in New York City Comic Con. Do you want to know what they're planning to do, Dan?
Neff is going to tell you.
Do you want to know what they're planning to do? So they are planning at a specific day and time to
one of the days of the
I think it's a Saturday. I think it's a Saturday at like 11:45 or something like stupid.
The most
populated day.
Yeah.
They're having people come to their booth and they're having them ready, steady, go, run to one of 3 different locations in the comic book convention center.
Well, no, they're giving them 3, each person gets 3 different locations and waiting at one of those 3, and it's different for each person
group, yeah,
is the person that has the redemption ticket. So they have to race as fast as they can to the 3 different locations to find which one has the ticket and then race back to the booth to turn it in to actually be able to buy
their convention exclusive cover. It's not like it's a freebie. It's congratulations, you knocked over like 3 children on your race to this spot to get the sticker to come back to turn in to have a chance to buy our $11 comic.
I just don't see that going very well with
there's going to be a stampede.
They're
like, it's such a bad idea. And all this is right.
That's everyone.
The name of the company.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the name of the company.
That's Raiden.
Ancient Egypt Total Pyramid Scheme.
Ba-dum-bum.
You're not Mo Biggs, Raiden. You're not Mo Biggs.
Yeah, it was a bad idea.
So do you have any advice for fledgling creators trying to get into comic books? Any words of wisdom for the noobs?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. Chauncey in the room. What's up, Chauncey? How you doing, buddy?
We got Chauncey Blakey.
Dude, Chauncey is standing. He's an amazing artist.
For real, Chauncey's great. I didn't know how to say his name. There's a big joke about how I used to call him Chancey Blakely. Okay, Chance Blackley. Like I couldn't say his name for the longest time. I had to force myself to learn. Yeah, you can't say Sean Gordon Murphy.
I can't. I never could. I never will. I usually wind up saying Sean Gordon Murphy or Sean Gordon Murphy. Yeah. I don't know what it is. It just how it happens, and I
couldn't say Bill Sienkiewicz.
Yes.
Right. It's just now 2 words, right? Yeah. Bilson Kevich. That's the only way we remember it.
Keep saying Sienkiewicz. Yep. But I know the way it's supposed to come out. It just, my brain and my mouth do not coordinate for some reason. I mean, it's a common problem, but it also happens specifically with his name.
Turned bright red. So we were talking about your advice for the noobs.
Yeah.
Pronounce people's names.
First piece of advice I will give to anyone is do not letter your pages at 11 by 17 and shrink it down like that. Letter your pages at the regular comic size. That's going to save you a lot of headache later on because that's the first giant mistake I made when I was making comics. It was terrible. I had to go back and redo the whole thing again. It was a total time killer. The next thing that I would say is, man, if you're gonna do this, love it. You have to love it. Read comics, read books, read everything. Would be number one. If you're an artist, draw life, do life drawings, and get comfortable with that. Learn the anatomy, do all of that. Market yourself. Do not be scared to market yourself. That is definitely a big thing. Put yourself out on social media, and have a good time with this. I mean, I can't say that enough because if you aren't having fun with this, listen to your soul. That would be the biggest thing. Is just have fun. I know that
Yeah.
sounds like a lame answer, but that's
It's a very
No,
lame
but all
answer.
of- no,
that
but
is
it's
incredibly
true.
lame answer.
It's true. And
It is
the lettering, I never.
It is the lamest
thought about
after
that,
school
but-
special answer, but it doesn't mean it's not true. It's just like, just because it's a theme song doesn't mean it's not true.
Hey guys,
I was
the
hoping
more
for
you
something
know,
like,
okay.
I was hoping for something like, learn to draw before you draw a book, or something
he
more
gave- he gave
practical.
the practical one
he
about
said
lettering.
Practice. He said practice and
Well, he
lettering.
gave
That
the
was-
specific about lettering. Don't
I
letter it
didn't
at
say
11.
that part was bad. I didn't say any of it
Well,
was
so you
bad.
get like one practical and then one like smushy.
Okay, fine. Smushy.
I don't know.
I want him to be real hard. Okay, so the answer is so lame. Bancroft used it as the answer to his notoriously lame Golden Rule stream. Yeah, love what you do. So I think that's probably going to be where we leave it. Is there anything you want to say to people before we get on out of here?
Back Bigfoot Knows Karate. That's what I want to say.
Yeah, first Bigfoot Knows Karate, sure. Look, just thank you. Thank you to everybody who has backed the book, who has shared posts, who has taken the time to draw the character or just send a kind note, after they got the book. And just I'm used to drawing a comic. I'm used to writing a comic where a guy wears a rubber on his head. Okay. When you do something like that, you get a lot of eye rolls and a lot of people who just straight up ignore what you're doing. This book, people have really taken notice of it, and it means more to me than you will ever understand. I love comics. I love making comics. Reading them is great. I enjoy that, but the actual craft of it, can't get enough of it. And to not work in a vacuum where don't even know what you're doing exists, and people are supportive of it, that's huge. That makes it really worthwhile to me. Yeah, back the book. I'd love it if you back the book. I think that'd be amazing. But yeah, thank you everyone who has had our backs through this, because Casey, myself, and Adam, we're putting together something really cool here, and it's really nice to know that people are into it.
Yep. Cool. All right. Well, that's going to be it for us tonight, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed the content, please like and subscribe. And you can always click the bell for notifications to find out when we go live next.
And tune into the frequency.
We'll see you next time.